ready to dive into a world you probably don't think about much. But we're going today.
What? Thinking about how foam is made?
Exactly. We're on a mission to figure out if a career as a foam rubber mixer is as comfy as it sounds.
Comfy, I like that. And you're right, it's funny, right? We spend a third of our lives on mattresses and couches, but never think about how that foam gets made.
It's true. So to get into it, we've got a stack of info here from RoleCatcher, ready to break down what it really means to be a foam rubber mixer.
Yeah, RoleCatcher's great for that. They don't sugarcoat. Their guide really digs into like the day-to-day realities of all sorts of jobs.
Okay, so let's unpack this. You're a foam rubber mixer.
Mm.
What's your day actually like? Paint us a picture.
Okay, imagine this. You're on this factory floor, surrounded by these like industrial size mixers, right? And you're responsible for like combining these precise ratios of foam rubber particles with liquid latex. There's
Yeah.
like actual science to it.
So we're not talking about some kind of arts and crafts project
Oh,
here.
no, no. You're monitoring these chemical reactions, adjusting the machines based on like the density and properties you need in the foam.
Wow, that's way more technical than I ever pictured.
Yeah, it's not just fluffing pillows or something.
So speaking of the environment, what's it like to actually be in that setting
Yeah.
every day? I mean, is it loud? Is it smelly?
It's a factory, right? So there's going to be noise from the machinery. And yeah, you'll need the right safety gear, fumes, and all that. Fast-paced, too. You're on your feet most of the day. But I will say, there's usually a strong sense of teamwork in those environments.
That's a good point. So it sounds like you'd really need to enjoy that kind of atmosphere to thrive.
Yeah.
What about the pros and cons? What does RoleCatcher say about like the ups and downs of this career?
So on the plus side, salary's good. Like, actually good for foam rubber mixers. There's
Yeah.
a lot of demand out there, so job security is looking pretty sweet, too. And let's be honest, the world always needs more comfy furniture.
Okay, that's definitely a point in the pro column. But what about the downsides? What does RoleCatcher say are the challenges someone going into this should be ready for?
Well, it's like any manufacturing job, right? There's going to be physical demands. You're on your feet a lot. Some of the tasks, they can get kind of repetitive.
Yeah.
And RoleCatcher mentions that, like, attention to detail, it's huge in this job. Like, even a tiny error in the mixing, it can throw the whole thing off, the quality of the foam. So you got to be focused, got to follow those procedures carefully.
Yeah, sounds like it takes a certain kind of person to really thrive there, huh? Someone who, I don't know, enjoys the hands-on work, but also that, like, precision.
Oh, totally. But here's something I find kind of cool about this whole thing.
Yeah.
There's room for, like, specialization. You could become the expert on, say, a specific type of foam or a particular process.
Oh, really? I never thought about that. Like different specializations within foam rubber mixing. Tell me more.
Yeah, like you could get into high resilience foam. That's the stuff they use in, like, furniture and mattresses that are supposed to be super supportive and last forever. Or you could be a master of, say, low pressure mixers. Those make the softer foams.
So you can really like carve out your own niche and become the go-to person for a specific thing. That's pretty neat. And I'm guessing those specialized skills could lead to some cool career moves down the line too, right?
Exactly. And RoleCatcher, they actually do a really good job of laying out, like, the career progression possibilities. They talk about how you can start as an assistant mixer, learning the ropes, and then work your way up.
So like becoming a supervisor or even managing a whole team of mixers.
Yeah, exactly. And then as you get more experience, more expertise, you might even move into roles that are more on the technical side, like, quality control, process improvement. You could be training the new mixers.
Wow, so there's a real path for growth there. You could start hands-on and then go in a bunch of different directions, more technical, more leadership. That's pretty cool.
Right. And RoleCatcher even gives examples of, like, real people who've gone different routes in the film industry. They show you what skills you need at each level, which I think is really useful for someone who's just, like, starting to think about this stuff.
Yeah, it's like having a roadmap. Speaking of tools, we talked about RoleCatcher's AI stuff earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What's that all about, and how could it help someone looking into this kind of career?
So their AI can actually analyze job descriptions, like really pick apart the language to see what skills and experience those employers are really after. That can be so helpful for tweaking your resume, your cover letter, to make sure you're highlighting the right things.
That makes sense. It's all about presenting yourself the right way, especially now when everyone's competing for these jobs.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just like keywords or whatever, RoleCatcher's AI, it can actually look at your resume and say, like, hey, this is how well this lines up with what they're asking for. It might even, like, give you suggestions.
Whoa, that's wild. It's like having your own, like, resume expert in your computer.
Right. And then they even have this interview simulator thing, AI powered, of course. It'll throw common interview questions at you, you answer, and it tells you how you're doing.
Okay, that's next level. I
Yeah.
mean, it's amazing how much tech is changing all this job stuff. But I guess it still comes down to, like, actually doing the research yourself, right? Really understanding the career you're after.
Oh, 100%. And that's really what we've been talking about this whole time, isn't it? This deep dive, it wasn't just about like, here's how much foam rubber you mix. It was about how to really dig into a career path, be smart about it.
Yeah, seeing the whole picture.
Yeah.
What's it actually like day to day, the good, the bad, what you can build towards.
Exactly. And I think that's what I like about what Rolecatcher's doing, you know? They give you the tools to make your own informed decision about your future, whatever that looks like.
So someone's listening to this thinking about maybe getting into foam rubber mixing. What's our big takeaway for them today?
Man, do your homework. Use the stuff Rolecatcher provides, obviously, but don't stop there. Find people actually doing the job, ask them questions, get a feel for it. You know, you might just stumble onto something you never even knew you'd love.
That's great advice. Sometimes the best stuff is like off the beaten path, right? And hey, even if so mixing isn't your thing, the stuff we've talked about today, the research, thinking critically, using tech to help you out, that's useful no matter what you want to do.
Oh, totally. That's the thing about knowledge, right? Never a waste to have more of it. So yeah, go explore, see where your curiosity takes you.
Who knows, maybe you'll invent a whole new kind of foam. Well, that's it for our deep dive into the world of foam rubber mixing. We'll catch you next time for another fascinating exploration.